My name is Tony Coufal, and I'm the Chief Technical Officer of Oxys Corporation. Oxys Corporation builds artificial intelligence solutions for industrial applications, primarily in manufacturing environments. So we work in biotech, pharma, medtech, as well as automotive manufacturing and some other industries we're making headway in, and work with the manufacturing equipment to install sensors, capture huge volumes of data, and then run it through algorithms and provide insights on the machine and process functionality. So I found multiple areas where the Venture Cafe has been incredibly beneficial to me. For one, it's a great place to network, and it's the community that really first drew me in. I found a very different type of attitude. It was people really networking. It was people walking up to each other and simply saying, "Hello, so what do you do?" And hearing you out, not trying to immediately think of what they could sell you, but in fact thinking about who they know, who they could connect you to help you out. And everything from I went outside for a moment and met two guys, and as we were talking I mentioned that I was developing for a client of mine a drone that could do three-dimensional scans of cell towers, because I worked in telecom. And the one guy happened to be an expert in drones, and the other guy happened to be an expert in AI, and I was the telecom guy. And just standing out there over a cigarette, we were literally brainstorming on how to make this happen. And it's that kind of community where nobody was asking for a consulting fee. It was simply just, hey, I have the knowledge that maybe could help you out. And every time I come here, I find people who do that, who just share their knowledge or share their contacts to help each other out. And that was one of the greater things that first drew me to the community. But once I started getting more and more involved, the benefits kind of became very, very clear. For one, I was able to meet people who were interested in my company and actually wanted to do business with me. Not because I came here to sell my company or my services, but because you'd simply talk to people and they recognized that whatever need they had could be filled by what it is that I do, or that some problem that they had could be solved by our staff and our talent. And we're not just talking other small startups. There was an instance where in one of the talks I met the innovation manager from General Motors. Upon further conversation, even went as far as to come to our offices and take a meeting with us so that we could start discussing the possibility of some opportunity that we might explore together. So again, without having to go and travel for your sales efforts, simply by coming here, being part of the community, attending the events, and talking to people, I noticed that there were business opportunities to be gained. Recently, when, again, through a meeting that I had at the Venture Cafe with BAE Systems, we continued a conversation about potential business opportunities, and they happened to call me and say, "Hey, would you be interested if when we sponsor the Defense Innovation Night, if you'd be one of the panelists on our talks about venture capital in the defense industry, and also be one of the judges on our Shark Tank panel when we present our patents and intellectual property for review." And immediately it clicked, because that, with no effort whatsoever, gave me the opportunity to now have two presentations where I can sit in front of a panel of experts, including executives from a major defense contractor and other companies that circulate around that industry, and be presented as an expert, as a judge who is judging BAE Systems IP, which to me was an honor, and be able to start that exposition into that professional community that I was looking for. Again, it just happened absolutely seamlessly with no real effort, after being given the roadmap here and then being given the opportunity to get it started here. So that was another instance of a just wonderful experience that I had at the Venture Cafe that really helped my career. StartHub to me is actually one of the tabs that opens up as soon as my browser starts. And it's my email, my calendar, StartHub, a couple of other pages. And the reason is because StartHub has the listing of events that really is so extensive that you can always find something to do in your field just about any given night of the week. And that was what first drew me to StartHub, was the ability to find the what's going on in town And the more I used it, the more I started using some of the other features. I think that I ended up posting 2 job ads when we were recruiting for certain positions. At one point, I ended up finding a very interesting opportunity of a person that wanted a co-founder and had a product that he wanted to launch but needed somebody with experience to help him launch it. So I've seen several functions on Startup that I found very useful, and like I said, it's one of those sites that I kind of go to regularly because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything, and because there's just so much on it. That's why I have it as one of my kind of startup tabs.